MILFs of Reddit, what were some of the most desperate advances you've had to deal with from your son's friends? My mom is a MILF. Once my mom and I were walking and some guy said to me in front of my mom, "Girl, you are cute but your mom is smoking hot." She is 20 years older than me and hotter. Great. Give it another 20 years and you'll probably have her beat by then. Obligatory not a MILF, yet. But in high school all of my boyfriends were completely obsessed with my mom and a lot of them would bring her tea, flowers, etc. So they'd show up with 2 bouquets, etc. I found pics of my mom on one of their laptops one time. Pulled I guess off of Facebook. I told my mom when we broke up and she laughed. But it was super weird at the time to have to be like, "Hey. Is that my f***ing mom in your spank bank?" Bro. I try to warn guys I date now that I have a hot mom. She's still hot and I'm 28 now. When my brother graduated from high school, he had a big party at our house. My mom would walk around periodically to make sure things weren't getting too ridiculous. At one point, this kid very openly hit on my mom and told her she was hotter than any girl there. Obviously my mom noped out of that mess and was thoroughly creeped out. Perfect way to have the rest of the party without adult supervision. Every moderately attractive high school teacher has been hit on. Currently, a senior that graduated last year is patiently waiting to turn 21 so he and I can go have a beer. I'm sure in his mind this will lead to a weekend of wild sex where I show him the hidden secrets of the Kama Sutra. I'm just interested to see if anything will have changed by then. Also, one of my son's friends once told me he'd like to experience an older woman and then stared at me. Probably expected some PRN plot scenario to follow. I wouldn't say I'm a MILF. But 2 of my daughter's friends have hit on me and her boyfriend of 3 years tried to kiss me. The most desperate was the boyfriend. We had gone on vacation for my daughter's 21st birthday to a small town with hot springs. While my daughter, her boyfriend and her friends camped nearby. I chose to stay in a hotel to give the young people their privacy. We all went together for a soak one evening but my daughter wasn't feeling well and stayed at the campground. After the soak, the boyfriend was quite drunk so I gave him a ride back to the campsite. When we arrived, he started professing his undying love for me. Said my name 3 times in his most serious attempt at a SI voice and leaned in for a kiss. He never saw my fist, but felt it land squarely in his sternum. It made for an awkward morning. He confessed to my daughter the next day and she laughed hysterically at his ridiculousness. They broke up not long after. I'm not sure that this qualifies, but here goes. When I was 45, I guess I hit my peak. We went to the pool in Vegas. Men kept hitting on me. One time I went to the bathroom, which was about 200 feet away from the pool, behind a row of trimmed hedges. 7 men in their 20s or so hit on me during the short trip to and from the bathroom. One young man was pretty insistent. He said that his hotel room was right there on the property. We could be back in 7 minutes, before my husband even noticed that I was gone. I started laughing so uproariously. I wasn't going to go no matter the offer, but come on. If you are going to try to seduce me, you could do better than that. I said no thank you. If I was going to fool around, he would have to do better than that. It would take us 3 minutes to get up to his room. I would certainly hope for more than a minute of pleasure. My husband is 26 and I am 49. My husband's friend is also 26 and he used to walk around in his underwear looking at me while he fluffed his package. He lived with us. Then one night he licked the whole length of a chalupa while staring at me intently. I have never laughed so hard in my life. Plot twist. Cougars of Reddit. What are some of the most desperate advances you've made on your son's friends? Reverse situation for me when I was 17. Had my friend's mom corner me in a bathroom asking me to stay the night. Said he wouldn't know if I snuck in her room. I'm torn because I f***ing wish I had. But at the time I knew if my friend caught me, we wouldn't be friends anymore. I say I wish I would have because we still aren't friends anymore. But I just couldn't out of respect. She was in her early 40s and effing hot. I would have. Friendships come and go. I think the more appropriate question is Redditors. That appears to be the responses we are getting. Waiting for the first response to this, which starts as a MILF my opinion. I once lost track of time while staring at my friend's girlfriend's mom's boobs. Curse her rockin' tits. My kid is still way too young to have creepy friends, but my little brother is 15 and his friends haven't learned volume control yet, so that gives me my hints that I'm a MILF. Shudders at the thought of 15-year-old boys. Anyway. Creepiest was when I was pregnant and my little brother's friend ran up and started rubbing my bump and telling me how he loved pregnant women and the things he would do to me. My brother punched the creepy little FCK and escorted him out. Can I tell the reverse story? My ex-husband, when we were first married, his ex-fiancée and her family went to our church. Her family was very close to my in-laws at one time. All having kids about the same age. 22. 17. 15. One morning, we were sitting in the doctor's office with the TV on in the waiting room, when the anchor announced a woman in our town was arrested for being caught in a car having sex with a 14-year-old. Then the mugshot appeared. It was the ex-fiance's mother, whom would have been my husband's mother-in-law. I almost spit out my coffee. She's doing 10 years in woman's correctional. Sometimes the MILFs like the attention. Till no one's a MILF on Reddit. I am, but my daughter is 7, so her little boyfriends just want me to look at the picture they colored. My mom was a MILF, I guess. She was also a super tease. She would and still does dance around in her undies slapping her double Ds. This was also when my brother's friends were over, even though she pretended they weren't. She would leave the bathroom door open a little when she was in the bathtub and she'd make ridiculous comments like asking my brother's friend to trim her bush. My brother's friends would come over and sing Stacy's mom, but it would be my brother's name. Mom has got it going on. There was one guy living next door and another guy living on the other side of us that were in the same grade. They used to steal my mom's underwear and bras and she knew it and didn't care. After the one guy graduated high school and my parents got divorced, he told her he would take care of her, which he did by plowing the driveway and mowing the lawn. If he ever did get laid, I will never know. I never get any advances from my son's friends. That's why I have to post on PRN sites that I'm in your area and ready to FCK now. MILFs of Reddit. You're onto me. Switched for me. I'm a dude who works with kids of different age groups. There have actually been a number of peers of my clients who would eye me up or would just find dumb reasons to try to talk to me. Damn. Why can't I have this kind of success with women my age or older? There were a few cute teachers though. If a MILF is a MILF, she and her kids know it. Girls talk about being the daughter of a MILF struggle all the time. Everything from guy friends telling them all the time they would have a hard time choosing between her or her mom, to jokingly not wanting boys to meet their mom because they will like her more. I'm just like, throws the hands up. DILFs get no love, though few and far between. They exist too. My friend had a DILF. I loved going to her house when we were in high school just to see her dad. 10 years later he's still hot. And now I feel really creepy typing this. Don't worry. We play truth or dare at sleepovers just to talk about how you're the parent of the friend group we would all FCK. Source. Found out my friends would FCK my dad. It's cracking me up how women are like, I'm not a MILF. But I get it. It feels weird to say people want to FCK you. I'm in my 30s and went back to school at a community college. My favorite has been when these young guys walk me to my car. Sometimes they'll ask me if they can smoke me out. Sometimes they just ask for my opinion on things. I can't say I mind. Except I'm never getting high at school again. Everyone found that too amusing. Including the professor who I was older than. My mom was a MILF. Being the daughter of a MILF isn't easy. And this particular event happened. She had just been dumped by a wealthy man she really liked. And he had doubled as a retirement plan, so she was really devastated. She let me have a party at 19 years old at her big nice house. Her judgment was off. Word got out and like 50 people showed up. It was supposed to be 10 people tops. Guys kept coming up to me joking they were going to FCK my mom tonight. I never thought it would happen. I was wrong. She got drunk. Stupid drunk, and took first a 21-year-old guy to her bedroom and gave him a blowjob. He wasn't just any other guy. He was my childhood best friend's brother who she had known since he was in elementary school. She wasn't done yet. She then takes the guy she knew I thought was gorgeous to her room. And when I went to the bathroom the next morning, I spotted him laying naked in her bed. My kid isn't old enough to have horny friends. But I did hear it from time to time when I was in the abyss of dating. It's amusing. But sometimes cringy. On a few occasions it goes back to some weird fetish they have for pregnant chicks and how it sucks I didn't know you while you were pregnant lol. I don't have any desperate advances, but my mom does from the high school friends I have. Those were weird, but my mom is young and people would always comment on that. It didn't really bug me. TBH. I was more looking forward to being the hot older sister. But I'm 21 years older than my youngest sibling. Yay me. At 35 years old walking my dog, a 10-year-old left his friends and followed me on his bike. He offered me sex, which I attempted to politely decline. It was hard to avoid laughing at him and told him the request was inappropriate and illegal. He kept following me, insisted he is very good at it, and finally asked to just put it in my butt. Disclaimer. Not a mother. Just motherish age. The FCK kinda 10-year-olds are we raising? I don't think I'm a MILF. None of these stories is delivering in the way that browsers has programmed me to relate. I don't think a lot of MILFs are on Reddit. Maybe that's what I'm here to find out. I once got invited over to fix a 40-year-old midwife who was my mom's friend. She picked me and my mom up and go to her place. I found out the problem was that she didn't know how to upload music onto iPod and she requested I help her. And while I was trying to fix it, she drove my mom back home while I stay behind to fix it. While I actually fix it and found out she didn't even have internet to download iTunes. I curiously looked through her picture folder and found nude photos of herself and licking a big black dildo. That was hot. So she comes back and I explained to her why it didn't work. We ended up just having small chat and the PC was in her bedroom. She had this king size bed that was literally so high that you'd had to jump to get on it. We both got on the bed and we just lay there. I don't know why nothing happened or if I was too scared, but I proceeded to ask when I can go home. I was probably around 13 at the time. Oh well. She was kinda hot I guess. Just posted similar post in our Ask Women. For any interested. We'll see what kind of answers we get there. And see how much karma I can lose. You weren't even asking for pics but your post was still deleted. Can we get a DILF thread for this? I used to hit on my friends' dads all the time, but I think they were mostly oblivious to it because I was a 12-year-old boy. I'm not a MILF, but that's it actually. Just not a MILF. Just like everyone else here, I'm a fat bearded redditor. I'd love to hear these stories. I hope this gets answers. You and me both, brother. One of my friends in high school called my married mom at work and asked her out. Oh my god, was she ever pissed off? The closest MILF experience I've had is getting a reply from Lisa Ann on Twitter. So I had this girlfriend named Stacy. Does it count if I just witnessed it? Sophomore and junior year. German class. Throughout both years this kid would hit on the teacher whenever he could get a chance. It all ended junior year when he wrote a love poem and read it to her in front of the class. Tried to give it to her and made some comments on if she told her husband about him because he wondered if the husband was jealous. We're all MILFs on this horny day. I was in a relationship with my friend's mom for over 5 years. My advances were mostly just compliments and being very sweet. My friends were basically of the thinking that I had no chance. Saying yeah. Everyone says she's hot. We've heard it all before. I'll never forget the night my friend said goodnight to me and I said goodnight and walked into his mom's bedroom and shut the door behind me. His look of bewilderment was strong enough that I didn't need to actually see it to know his face was frozen with it. Haha. I got the last pizzerel. Well. I FK'd your mom on and off for 5 years and didn't even try to hide it. He grabbed my crotch. The look on his face when he found a penis down there. I have absolutely nothing to contribute to this discussion. I'm also not a MILF. But I like chicken pot pies. Well, OP, everyone on Reddit has done me at least once. So opposite side of this. Being the horny 17-year-old I was. Had a friend whose mom was an absolute knockout. I'm talking everything your horny teenage brain could ever whack it to. Well, one night. My friend was staying over at my house and his mom needed to get my number for emergency purposes. This was about a week before I turned 18. I, at first jokingly, attempt to flirt with her and show my young bravado. Then it worked. About 2 weeks after I turned 18. She picked me up in her car, my buddy had no idea and still to this day doesn't, took me to this motel. She was in an unhappy marriage, and I proceeded to live out every MILF-hungry teenage boy's dream. For about 5 minutes. I have never learned so much in 5 minutes in all my life, and because of the experience I feel like I'm a much better lay. If you have a chance to sleep with an older woman, I highly recommend it. 5 minutes in heaven is better than 4 minutes in heaven. Not a MILF. But I do have a small story. So in high school a bunch of us, all guys, aged 16-17, are all at one guy's house. One MILF goes to upstairs to bed. And other guy goes, dude, I'm gonna FCK your mom. And without hesitation walks upstairs. And doesn't come back for a few hours. The son was not happy. But what's he gonna do? Barge in on his mom during sex and shut it down? I feel like you have to be 40 and older to be a MILF, so I don't think I count since I'm in my 20s. I do get hit on by a lot of teenage boys though because I look like I belong in their freshman math class or something. It's very awkward. You have to have had a child and be attractive. Bam. MILF. Not a MILF. But I did bang one a few times. Since I was about 14 I had a crush on my best friend's mom. I would constantly tell him how hot she was and tell her I thought she was pretty. After 7 years of harmless flirting we ended up on a bowling team together since she had just gotten divorced. We were hanging out after the first game back at her house. And my friend had to take his daughter back to her mom's house. She just straight out asked me if I was serious all those years about how hot she was. We ended up making out in the driveway and she gave me a BJ inside. The next few months was filled with sex and blowjobs from this woman. We even snuck to the bathroom a few times during bowling games. She eventually found a dude she liked romantically. One day we're banging, the next day her boyfriend was watching us bowl. I thoroughly enjoyed our time together and would even send each other nude and SXT when I was single. One of the best lays ever to this day. The MILF population on Reddit is through the roof. So is the I don't think I'm a MILF population. What is this? Penthouse letters? I dunno. Dear Penthouse. I normally wouldn't do this sort of thing. But the writing prompt you sent out in last month's issue called out to me.